Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Visavana Sutate Pranamami Harike Vanchaka Patrudhyacha Kripa Sindhuvyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namah Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta-vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So Radha and Krishna are the very center of Vrindavan. They are the very essence of Raj. All others are somehow or other sharing in the depth of that love. All others are contributing. So there are many places where Radha Krishna and the gopis met. And there are many places where Radha Madhav were performing transcendental pastimes. It is said that the pastimes of the Lord are taking place in an Astakalya Lila, that there are different types of the day when different pastimes taking place. Sanketa is a meeting place because it is a natural meeting place, because it is situated between Nandagram and Varsana. So therefore, logically, somehow it is a meeting place. And here it is said meetings were taking place either in the middle of the night or in the middle of the day. In the middle of the day, when Krishna made some excuse to the cowherd boys that he was going to look for some calf, then he might appear here in this area. So the deity that we are seeing here is Sanketa Bihari. Very nice deities, large deities, and quite famous deities in Braj. We also went earlier on to the Radharaman temple, and also here in this village there is a temple dedicated to Yogamaya, and Sanketa Devi, Yogamaya, who is arranging for the pastimes of Krishna, and who makes everything possible, who makes it possible for the devotees to forget that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and to even for Krishna to forget his divine powers, so that Krishna can just express his human nature. Because we see in Krishna two natures. That makes Krishna most amazing. That Krishna has a human nature, and Krishna at the same time has a totally divine nature. When he lifts hills, I mean, it sort of goes beyond human understanding, and so on. So again and again, it interchanges between these experiences that are within the human realm, and then experiences in the superhuman realm. And because Krishna comes into the human realm, he comes very close to us. And therefore, one can develop a loving relationship with Krishna. Srila Prabhupada explains that, he said, when you have the universal form, what can you do? Right? You cannot, how can you relate to the universal form? All you can experience is great awe and reverence. Even Arjuna forgot his friendship in front of that gigantic, enormous form, and also representing destructive time and so on. It was just too much. So Prabhupada says, how can you deal with the universal form? He says, can you dress the universal form? It will be difficult. It's quite large. Where will you get enough cloth to dress the universal form? How can we relate? So therefore, there is distance. There is just awe, and there's like the enormous powers, and then distance. In this way, one can only feel small, insignificant, and that is good. But one cannot feel very close to the Lord, because He's too great. But Krishna is very close. Therefore, here in Vrindavan, the mood is very close and intimate and personal. It is very nice like that. Everything is, Krishna is taken care of like a human being. Like when it's winter time, then they make some socks for the deities, things like that. They knit something warm, or they get some wool. Even the pictures get like little pieces of little wool coverings, at least half, so that they are nice and warm in the winter. It is very personal. Radharaman gets nice warm khichdi in the winter. Who wouldn't like some hot khichdi on a cold winter morning? That's very tasty. So in this way, that human side of Krishna is what the residents of Vrindavan are simply relating to. And of course, that is our movement. That is the essence. And then suddenly Krishna is doing it again. The supernatural, the extraordinary, and then the pastimes of Krishna are just inconceivable. So many different rasa stalis are there. So many places where Krishna performed his pastimes. So I'll read just a moment. Surrounded by millions of gopis, Lord Krishna enjoys his play, placing his hands on the shoulder of Radha. The beauty of the Ras Leela expands and fills the entire world as everyone became fully absorbed in the musical vibrations. What can I say about that enchanting music which steals the heart of all? All the various musical instruments were greatly fortunate to be engaged in the rasa dance. Oh Srinivas, what a wonderful arrangement! Various musical instruments were played in the Rasa Leela, which attract all living entities, beginning with Lord Brahma. Always surrounded by loving associates, the son of Maharaj Nanda attracts millions of cupids. He's the most expert in playing all kinds of musical instruments. In the three worlds, there is no comparison to the enchanting way in which he plays the flute. Hearing the sound of Krishna's flute, Lord Shiva becomes overwhelmed. The personification of transcendental mellows, the enchanter of Govinda, Sri Radhika perfectly plays the instrument known as Alavani, similar to the tambura. She vibrates both vocally and instrumentally the 3 meters, Sasya, Madhyam, and Gandhara. Sri Lalita very expertly plays the Brahmavina, beginning with the sounds of the Shrutis, 22 different tones. The beautiful Vishaka plays the Kachapi Vina in sweet ways. The Rudra Vina is played by the beautiful Suchitra. So the Rudra Vinas are very deep sound. It's like a bigger than a sitar. It looks like a sitar, but bigger. And the sound is deeper. So you can hear this. Very nice. So played by the beautiful Suchitra, who is very expert in manifesting the difference in Swar, Jati, and Prabheda, varieties of melodies. Champakalata plays the vipani, another type of veena, in different murchanas and talas, different beats. Rangadevi plays the vilas, also a veena, manifesting different gamaka, vibrating notes. Beautiful Sudevi plays the sarangi in different ragas. Tungavidya plays the Kinari Veena, showers nectar on the Ras Mandal. And Induleka plays the Swar Mandal, which is similar to the Santura. The Santura is that instrument, it's like a flat instrument with strings and then little sticks, and they play the instrument with the sticks, and it makes a very celestial sound. Really like, very light and very nice. So they're quite good. They're expert musicians. The Sakis of Radhika and their followers engage in this way, playing various musical instruments. Someone plays mardala, a type of drum. Someone the mridanga, and then produces wonderful talas. And in this way, surrounded by millions of gopis, Lord Krishna enjoys placing his hands on the shoulder of Radha. The beauty of the Ras Leela expands and fills the entire world as everyone became fully engaged in the musical vibrations. So in this way, the Sakis of Radhika and their followers in this way are playing their musical instruments. Other various instruments beginning with kartas, and in this way the Ras Mandal is filled with the sound of various musical instruments. Who can properly describe the exquisite sounds of the musical instrument played by Sri Radhika and her Sakis? The sounds of the various musical instruments blend together and appear to shower nectar within the Ras Mandal. Vrindadevi introduces wonderful musical instruments unknown to the Shastras. Radha and Krishna, being completely absorbed in the mellows produced by the music, joyfully begin dancing. Similarly, the Sakis, headed by Lalita, feeling great jubilation, also join in the dance. O Srinivas, Radharani with her associates enters the forest cottage by this path. There's no end to the followers of Srimati Radharani. Along her associates, headed by Lalita, Radha looks wonderfully beautiful. Lalita Saki is filled with all transcendental qualities. She's surrounded by 8 intimate followers. So, in this way, we are reading descriptions of the acharyas describing the transcendental nature of the pastimes of Krishna in Vrindavan. And we can see that it's kirtan. Basically it's kirtan. Different instruments. And then, because the purpose of music is to glorify Krishna. So, kartals are there. So, in this way we can see how the Sanketa movement of Lord Chaitanya comes together with the intimate pastimes of Vrindavan. Same thing, same kirtan. It's not, they don't play a tape or something for the party. They make the music themselves. They bring their instruments. Then they dance in great ecstasy. And then of course also also there are other exchanges, loving exchanges, embraces, and these things, but all in an amazing arrangement. So Sanket is such a place. Here Krishna, Sanket Bihari, Kunja Bihari, the enjoyer in the groves in Vrindavan. We sing the song every day that Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur gave it to us, and Srila Prabhupada every day would chant this song, this Jaya Radha Madhava, before any kirtan or any class, I mean to say. But and he said that everything is there. Everything is there. It's just like it's complete. The whole of Raj is within that song. So today we took it we stretched it a little bit longer and sort of bent it a little bit and then bounced it around a bit of the empty walls of our hearts, which are like described as guya, as caves, right? And of course, usually only dark beds of sinful desire are flying around in these caves, but I think we've chased them away. By loudly chanting, these bats start hiding, and some are even flying out of the cave, right? So in this way, we chant again and again, in different places, in different moods. Last night we were in that Dhammadarastika thing, and then it's just overwhelming. It's an overwhelming type of atmosphere. And here is totally different now. Here are sweet pastimes, sweet villages. So we are a little bit here in this village. We will go further also to see the Yogamaya temple, the Sanketa Devi temple, and right next to the Sanketa Devi temple is the Bhajan Kutir of Gopal Bhatta Goswami. So it's not just insignificant that there is a deity of Radharaman in the village, because Gopal Bhatta Goswami spent a long time here in this village, and he performed his bhajan here. The 6 Goswamis, they are certainly great preachers, because the 6 Goswamis, they have after all given us everything. Without the 6 Goswamis, we would have no substance. Preach, but what would we preach? We would have nothing to preach. It is Srila Prabhupada who carefully brought all these conclusions, all this Siddhanta from Raj, all this conclusion of Srimad-bhagavatam. I mean, Srimad-bhagavatam is also Vraj, because it is the 10th canto, ultimately. It is all leading up to the 10th canto. See, Srimad-bhagavatam, yes, we went to Dhruva Tila, yes, we heard about Dhruva Maharaj, and yes, we saw how Dhruva Maharaj was ultimately approaching Krishna. Because ultimately, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Who else is Vasudev? Vasudev is Krishna. Srila Prabhupada also writes Krishna. It's sort of like, you say Vaikuntha, Krishna. Prabhupada just mixes the two, and he's in Madhuvan. And Krishna also sometimes manifests 4 hands and sometimes 2, and it's not a problem. He can do these things. That's easy. Anyway, the point is that little by little, by going through Srimad-bhagavatam, we are coming to Krishna and to the face of Krishna, it is said. 1st and 2nd canto are the lotus feet of Krishna, and then slowly it goes up until we come to his face, which is the 10th canto. So in the 10th canto, we are here in the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. And of course, the particularly Madhurya Ras is a very complex rasa. It is very difficult to approach because we are somehow or other influenced by the material energy, somehow or other. And we have become captured by the spirit of trying to enjoy the material energy. And then especially it is said material life is known as Maitunya Agara, a chain of sex life. That ultimately everything ends up with that. You go with the train of thought. We're speaking about the train of thought, and that's the idea that thoughts are like a train in many coaches, and you just go down the train, and then at the end, last coach. Last coach is on the couch, if you know what I'm saying. So what to say? That's the nature of the mind. Again and again. It somehow or other gets to that point. All right, sometimes we get off the train for a while, and then we get on another train, and again, and again, and again. So that also we bring with us into Vrindavan, and therefore when we approach these Radha Krishna places, we say that we're a little bit respectful, but we at the same time, this is also our property. This is really what it comes to, what it boils down to. Once we get over it, once we get over the attacks of lust, then we also are meant to join in the loving exchanges of Krishna and simply assist there. When we get over the desire to be master, right? And I don't say master or mistress because it says it's the desire to be Purusha. And it said that the man wants to be master and the women want to be master as well. Everyone wants to be master, everyone wants to be Purusha. But to come to that point where we simply are saying, let Krishna be the enjoyer. And let Krishna enjoy with Srimati Radharani and Lalita and the Astasakhi. So we are here in the regions of the Astasakhi. Go a little, 1 minute. We are so Krishna is described by our acharyas, and the 6 Goswamis, they deeply penetrated into the Dham, not just by Nana Shastra Vichara Naikanipano, not only by scrutinizing the Vedic literatures, but then they also visualized the Vedic literatures. We see, if you look at the writing of Jiva Goswami, for example, in Gopal Champu, he takes a little bit of the Bhagavatam. Hey, chup chup, chup 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 chup. He takes a little bit of the Bhagavatam, some verses, and then he expands on them. And so many pastimes are being described then that he is visualizing. So the Goswamis are doing more than just good scriptural research. They are seeing actually into the spiritual world. And so they went very deep, and then they share some of these things in their writings. So Rupa Goswami is very famous for his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, and then as a follow-up to the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, he wrote the Ujjvala Nilamani. Yeah, Sudama, you are speaking Hindi? So just control them a little bit, you know. Not like the monkeys, but no sticks, but my friend, you are very expert at delivering messages. Please do not neglect me at this crucial time. Radharani to her gopi friend, I've wandered now for a long time to collect flowers in this tree and creeper filled Vrindavan forest, and now I'm very tired. I shall now go alone into this grove and rest for a moment. In the meantime, please go and bring me a flower from the Yamuna shore. So, okay, we can see sometimes Krishna is withdrawing, sometimes Radharani also. And then they make some excuse that they want to be alone for a moment. Radharani to Vishaka. The spring season and the moon have combined to make this forest on the Yamuna shore very beautiful. My body is also very nicely decorated by its friend's youthfulness. My friend, at this moment, what more need to be said? The Sakis assist Srimati Radharani in her transcendental amorous pastimes with Lord Krishna. They're like transcendental jewelry cases in which Srimati Radharani places her faith and trust. The following is an elaborate description of the Sakis. So then Rupa Goswami begins to categorize different groups in a little technical way. Anyway, we'll read a little of that also. But basically, Radharani places her faith and trust in the gopis. They are completely, they are very together, very close. So that is something really wonderful. We see that between them there is no enmity, no envy, no distance, no walls, no preconceived ideas, you know, and this one is that, and no rubber stamping. It is simply deep, intimate, heartfelt relationships. The Sakis are attached to certain groups of gopi friends. They may be divided into different types, such as Adhika and Prakar. In the matter of brain, transcendental love, Saubhagya, good fortune, and Satgunya, transcendental qualities, and in other matters also, the Sakis are divided in three groups. Adhika are superior, Sama are intermediate, and Laghu are inferior. The Prakar, harsh Saki, speaks heavy words which are difficult to contradict. The Mritvi, gentle Saki, does not speak harshly at all. The Sama Saki stands midway between the Prakar and the Mritvi Saki. The Sakis may be divided into various types, beginning with the Atyanta Adhika, the most exalted. In each group of the Saki, the leader is Atyanti Adhika, the most exalted. So yes, the spiritual relationships are somehow or other. Leadership is based on love for Krishna. And we can see, and that is the principle of spiritual relationships. Radharani is the topmost because of her extraordinary love. Yasoda is unmatched because of her inconceivable love for Krishna. Each of these gopi leaders, each of the Sakis is a leader by love. Right? And same in our movement, it has to be by love for Krishna. Real leadership is that kind of leadership. And that is the kind of leadership that touches the heart. Then one desires to follow. Then one desires to serve. And then one desires to bow down. Then one is ready to take the humble position. But when this leadership is not based on love for Krishna, then we think, who are you to tell me what to do? And we rebel. But But still, externally, sometimes, although such deep relationships exist between the gopis, and although there is deep respect, right? And especially for Srimati Radharani, but also for all the group leaders, still sometimes it appears that there is competition and some chastising. Is this called kidnapping? Now it's a game, you know. Sometimes, some of the Ajyantika Adhika Sakhis, some of these leaders, are prakar, harsh. Some madhya, partially harsh, partly gentle, and some gentle. This kind of Sakhis, the Ajanta Adhika, the group leaders, they are independent and not subject to the control of others. Sham says, Nila, cover me with this black cape. Maga, give me this garland of Damanaka flowers. My friend Champa, anoint my body with this dark akuru paste. Bharama Akshi, watch for my elders. Now that evening has arrived, this great blinding darkness will aid my swift journey to the forest rendezvous with Krishna. So we see they are definitely in charge, you know, ordering people and taking service, and that is going on. Therefore, this modern lifestyle, everyone is equal. That doesn't work. We're all equal, you know, and nobody is more equal than anyone else. So. No, that is not a spiritual relationship. A spiritual relationship is, we see how someone else is a wonderful devotee, and thus we bow down. Of course, when we see that everyone is a wonderful devotee, we bow down to all the devotees, and that is the spiritual. Radharani rebukes her friends for delaying her rendezvous with Krishna. Would you torture me with these delays? If your hearts were wounded by Cupid's arrows, look, the debauchee Krishna, who loves you very dearly, and who is now protecting the Surabhi cows, has just now entered onto the pathway of our eyes. And so rebuking, chastising. So it's not all lovey-dovey, holding hands, you know, and the gopis are so sweet and so loving. No, what are you doing, you know? Chastising, yes. Not all so soft and so sweet. No. Even Radharani is just... But everything is centered around Krishna. Radharani and Palika are the most prominent of the Ajanta, Adhika, Madhya Sakhis. So that means they're in between. Right? That means they're not always harsh. They're sometimes gentle, sometimes harsh. So Radharani is like that. Although she is a left-wing gopi, like not a right-wing gopi. Right-wing gopis are like Chandravali, very submissive. Radharani is a left-wing gopi. She is strong and rebellious, and she can chastise also Krishna and punish him. But there are some Sakhis, they're always heavy. You know, they're always like harsh. Right? But Radharani is in the middle, you know, like that. Radharani and Palika are the most prominent of the Ajyantika Adhika Madhya Sakhis. Palika is in competition. During a period when she had broken with Krishna because of a quarrel, Chandravali said to Padma, listen friend, I shall speak to you the truth. Do my ears become tired from drinking the nectar of Krishna's flute music? If my pride is then crushed, what is the loss? From the other gopis I have heard that you're criticizing Krishna for being too harsh to me. I think that if you glance on Krishna with half of an eye, all your criticisms of him would at once stop. Chandravali and Bhadra are the most prominent of the mridu, of the gently, adyantika adhika shakis. So this is, Chandravali is the competition, right? But she's very soft, very gentle actually, always. And we will read later on today, we're going to read a little bit from the Lalita Madhava when we are there. And the Lalita Madhava is very interesting. And I'll give you a little preview before we start reading. The Lalita, when Rupa Goswami was, he was contemplating writing a play on the pastimes of Krishna. So it is described that Rupa Goswami was traveling and this is Caitanya-caritamrita, and he came in a place known as Satyabhamapur. And when Rupa Goswami came in Satyabhamapur, then in his dream, this beautiful effulgent personality, a lady, appeared, and she told him, you should not write one play, you should write two plays. One play should be about the pastimes of Krishna in Vrindavan, and one play should be about the pastimes of Krishna outside of Vrindavan. So then Rupa Goswami, after he woke up, realized Satyabhama has ordered me to write, to separate the pastimes of Krishna, and rather than write it in one play, write it in two plays, Vrindavan and outside of Vrindavan. So he did that. And Vidakta Madhava is the play about Vrindavan. And last year on the Parikrama, I was reading a lot from the Vidakta Madhava. And everyone who was there heard it, and who was not there didn't hear it. What to do? But the other one, the pastimes of Krishna outside of Vrindavan, that is the Lalita Madhava. So now you may wonder, why would I want to read the Lalita Madhava when we are right here in Vrindavan? When we are now really in the heart of Vrindavan, in these villages around Varsana? Well, because it's very interesting. That's why. And why is it very interesting? Because when Rupa Goswami is describing how the pastimes out of Vrindavan take place, and that means Krishna with all his queens, and so on, then how does it start? It starts in Vrindavan. And it starts in Vrindavan with great separation. And the separation is getting bad. And we hear many times that the residents of Vrindavan, when they get overwhelmed by separation, they are approaching death, right? And they are approaching madness and death and all that. And this time, they are not just approaching death, they die. They die, they all die. The different gopis, they all die. Radharani dies, and all the other gopis die, and everybody dies. The coward boy, they all die. It begins really like on a high note, you know? Sort of like everyone dies. Oh, that's the opening of the play. So it's sort of, okay. But then what happens is they reincarnate. And who do they reincarnate in? They come back as the queens. And Rukmini. Oh, Rukmini. Who is Rukmini? None other than Chandravali. Oh, yes. And who is Satyabhama? None other than Radharani. And like this, all the queens come, and Satyabhama is the younger queen. She's younger. And Rukmini, Chandravali, I mean, she is the elder one. And as a result, the same relationship. We see Chandravali is just like Rukmini. When Krishna chastises Rukmini, she just cried. But she was still faithful, still worshipping. Radharani, she goes into Mangar, you know, and stays there angry, right, for days, you know, and until he begs, you know, oh, please come out. She's ready to chastise. So Rukmini is in that mood, and And Satyabhama is in the mood of Srimati Radharani. And then you see that it describes that, how these moods are reflecting in these screens. And we'll read that a little later. And in this way, even when Rupa Goswami is writing about the pastimes outside of Vrindavan, he's still in Braj. He's completely in Braj. He hasn't left at all. It's very interesting. He really connects everything.